Yeah, I'd like to be one of the first, besides their fans, to congratulate Scott Strickland, his coaching staff, and players. You know, either way, that's what I was going to kind of talk about is their journey and their toughness, and we were worthy of breaking a significant win streak. We knew we were up against a very formidable opponent. We went toe-to-toe for 27 innings, and there was one run difference between the two ball clubs in a game of inches. And we're wounded warriors, obviously, but there's some irony, I guess, for me anyway, in the fact that we lost the ball in the sun in Eugene, and it ended our season. So be careful what you wish for, I guess is the message in that. You know, as far as my ball club, you know, like I said, at the end of Saturday night, besides the obvious of the devastation of the special opportunity to go compete for a national championship, we did that. We just didn't take it as far as we wanted to. And, you know, somewhere along the line, ending in the state of Nebraska is something that I really truly believe this group of athletes deserve. I've had my moment in the sun and so forth, and I'll be back there with a Duck baseball team. I can promise everybody that's here and anybody that's watching, we're going to the College World Series, or it's going to kill me. And the unfortunate thing is that some of these kids will be moving on, and the likes of the seniors and the guys that are going to end up signing. But the good news is we got a lot of these great kids back, and I'm sure some of the little details that you know, when you play at the championship level, it's little things here and there, whether it's a boxing match or a basketball game or hockey match or what have you, and it came down to they executed better than we did, and it's a tough pill to swallow, but we have to tip our caps to the Golden Flashes and wish them luck, and hopefully they'll make a deep run in the College World Series.
Questions, Rick?
Rick Morgan, Duck News. Coach, talked a lot in the fall about the character of this group. Just how long do you hold on to this memory before you look to next season, and how do you carry that personality into the next year's team?
I think that'll be individual, you know. I remember a 3-2 loss in the College World Series in the championship game, and that happened in 1992. You know, whether this isn't their careers yet, it may be for some. I think that's individual, and some guys will let it go a little sooner than others, and I'm sure there were some young men that didn't want to come in here because they are pretty devastated. And when we do our normal routine of debriefing in our locker room, I'm sure there'll be a lot of hugs and crying and devastation, and they got to go home and study and do well in their finals, and hopefully they can shake it off, at least to be present for their finals and finish the job there. And, but I think the value in athletics is when you have a devastating loss. Like, for instance, when I was associate head coach at Cal State Fullerton, we lost 3-2 to Pepperdine. And some of those athletes use that in their life that they never want to finish second again. And if I know these guys the way I think I know them, they're not going to want to finish second in anything, whether it's the classroom, careers, baseball, and they'll do what real men do. They'll look at this adversity and get up off the deck, and the real glory is when you get knocked to your knees is when you get up and do something about it.
Coach, you're 2-2 in the ninth, 4 years into this thing, you know, a hit away from the College World Series. You had tremendous success in Fullerton. I know this stings now, but given that you built this thing from the foundation with your own hands, is this even more special than not everything you did at Fullerton, obviously, but a lot?
It's progress. We're getting closer. There's no moral victories for me. We're devastated. Am I proud of them? Absolutely. The stuff that these guys had to overcome, you know, the injuries and different people, and the comeback. comebacks, the one-run victories. You know, really the one-run victories was the real silver lining to the 2012 season, and again, some irony to the fact that we lost 2 one-run games here in the Super Regional. But am I satisfied? No. Are any of the guys in the Duck uniform, whether it's my staff, my managers, my administration? Absolutely not. That'll get us more poised and ready to do all the sacrifice things again. I can't wait until September 6th or 7th or whatever time we get going again, and it can't come soon enough for me.
Coach, what do you need to take the next step forward with this program?
Today, we needed to score 2 more runs.
But in the future?
I don't know. I think this group came as close as any group I've ever been around to doing everything they could. And baseball's a very cruel sport sometimes. You know, it's a hard sport to dominate, no matter how good you are, how invested you are. And certainly everybody at this level from here on in has put a lot of work in it, and not any more than us, but a little bit of luck. And you know, in a weird way, and I didn't say this, but the coin flip in this room on Friday night stung a little bit for me. We won one in the regional, and when we lost that, just knowing kind of this club and 21 innings and one-run victories and our club, I thought the coin flip might have a bearing in it, and I'll be doggone it. Sometimes I hate to be right sometimes.
Coach, obviously not the end of the season that you wanted. The end of the game there, just how baseball goes sometimes. Can you talk about specifically this team you said you loved more than any other team, and obviously their ability to come back late in the game today?
You know, there's national champions on the field, and there's national champions as far as makeup in the game of life. But we got 2 out of 3.
Brett, could you take us through what you saw, what happened on that final play?
JJ and I both gave it our all, and that guy found a hole, and he'd been swinging it well all weekend. We just found a spot where we weren't. Lost in the sun for a second, unfortunately, but that's how the game goes sometimes. But we both gave it our all the best we could. I bet you couldn't hit that same spot. We gave him 100 tries. So that's how the game works sometimes.
Ryan and Brett, obviously, very, like Coach has said, devastating ending. Can you talk about what this program has managed to do in such a short period of time?
First and foremost, it's made me a better person. That's what Coach Horton strives most, is to be a good person before you become a good baseball player. And him and his staff have done that for all of us more than anyone in my whole life. And it's just more motivation for us. But he just made us one great people, one great person.
I agree completely with that. You know, coming from a very close family and stuff, you know, when I was going to go away to college, I wanted to commit to someone who was very personable, and you know, I think Coach Horton's been that to the fullest, and you know, has really been a teacher to us more than a coach, and has really taught us life lessons on and off the field more than I could ever expect and stuff. And I've been here for only 2 years, and you know, hopefully got a year or more here with him and take this program further and further.
Guys, when you tied it up at 2, how much did you believe or think that you were going to do it again, the way you've been able to do it kind of all season?
That was one of the biggest things that we kind of eliminated throughout the offseason, beginning of the season, is doubt. And I don't think anyone in that dugout doubted our team as a whole, because they knew that someone in that lineup or on that bench was going to find a way to get it done. It's been someone different all year, and you know, it's just the way the baseball, you know, goes sometimes. Very unfortunate, but you know, hats off to them.
What happened on your RBI single?
You know, I really tried to slow the game down and left the fastball up and away, and I was able to find a hole, you know, just like that last guy did. You know, it wasn't enough, but it was nice to be able to come through for my team, and you know, give us a chance to, you know, pull that game out.
George, in that 9th inning, Jimmy call you to the mound? Did you see something wrong?
Yeah, that you know, Jimmy's you know, he only threw 9 pitches last night, and he felt good, and we all saw how spectacular he was at 93 and dirty in the 8th, and he tightened up a little bit in the elbow, and my instincts were to get him out of there right now, and he talked me out of it, and I feel bad about that. Still executed a good pitch. His slider became a curveball, and that caps it. You know, we probably fired our bullets a little too soon. You know, the quick hook on Jeff Gold, I'm sure he didn't want to come out of the game, but he wasn't missing many barrels, and I didn't think it was a very good matchup against this team when I woke up in the morning. And you know, we could have handled a couple things a little better defensively to help him, but I didn't want to leave any bullets in the chamber. You know, Tommy felt like he felt good. Tommy Thorpe and Jimmy felt good. And Joey Housey felt good. Brando felt good. I guess I had a little bit of, you know, that shame on me, but I had a little bit of doubt of whether Jeff Gold was a good matchup for this particular style hitting team, because they spray the ball around and they're hard to fool, and it's really a club that you want to throw velocity at them, and not the style of pitching Jeff was. And I'm sure Jeff was surprised they came out and got him so soon. And unfortunately, when Jimmy tightened up, I guess you know, the competitive side of me, when he said, "I'm okay, coach, I can do it," I shouldn't have. So whether it's go to Flamian or Wiley or Spencer or somebody else, I feel bad that I let Jimmy, when he wasn't 100% at that particular moment, have that devastation. And that's what I went and told him at the end. I mean, how courageous it was for him to think that he could get 2 more outs for us and give us a chance to win. I need to be the professional and get the emotions out of it, but you know, for all of our sake, he did talk me into it.
Aaron?
Brett, at what point did you actually pick up the ball, or did you pick up it based on possibilities or trajectory? Did you ever see it? Did you guys communicate at all?
I kind of read JJ and saw where he was running, ran toward it. Finally got a chance, but I thought JJ was going to get there. He gave it all he had, and unfortunately it fell.
When it fell, you guys on the ground, and you were watching Todvine around the bases. Can you describe what was going through your mind, and then your reality set in?
Unreal. I know we worked so hard for this, but that team, Kent State, they deserve it. They're a quality ball club, and I'm going to be rooting for them in the College World Series, that's for sure.
Go ahead. Can you guys at least feel good about walking away today, knowing that you gave it everything you had?
That's our goal every day, is to give it all we have, no matter what percent we really do have. 100 of your 60% or whatever it is. I can hold my head high knowing that I gave it my all, and I know Ryan can, Coach can, we all can, and we should.
We're all going to walk out of here very proud, but not one of us can be satisfied. I can guarantee you that.
You guys mentioned a cruel game. Does it almost feel unfair the way that ended like that, as opposed to a clean hit?
It was a clean hit. I mean, it fell. It's not an error. It's just baseball. We chose a very cruel game, and you know, we've grinded through a lot of tough games throughout the season, and unfortunately had to end like that. But you know, hats off to them, and hopefully they can keep persevering throughout the College World Series.
George, you talked after the Civil War about part of building a program from scratch is teaching your guys how to own the big moment. Is this another example of that?
Yeah, you know, more driven, more determined, more sacrifices. You know, like these guys said, when you got a group that essentially, almost every day I was around, probably less than a dozen times, which is a miracle when you're talking about 18 to 22-year-old kids, that they weren't just spot on. So, you know, from September 6th to June 11th, and you have less than 12 crummy days, I can look in this room and challenge you, or any of you, and you're all good people, but that's a pretty good batting average there. But the taste in their mouth, the fact that you get up off the deck, and you know, if you can cut the crummy days in half. I've said this publicly before. We lift weights at 620. They're 18 to 22-year-olds. up late at night, I would imagine. And we had one kid out of 35 guys that was 5 minutes late, one time. I think that describes what I'm talking about.
Coach, when this all began in Hawaii, when you looked at this team, did you see 46 wins later and it would be on the edge of Omaha? I mean, do you know what you're looking at when you see it, you know, a season opening series? Is it possible? Did they surprise you?
They shocked me. You know, on paper, you break it down, like I said last night or the night before, you take the 16 teams, you break down, you know, some of these sophomores and freshmen are gonna get drafted pretty high, and they're tremendous baseball players, and that doesn't mean the draft class guys are not good baseball players because they didn't get drafted. Thought I was a decent baseball player and I didn't get drafted. Luckily, I didn't get drafted in the Army as well, thanks to Mr. Nixon. But you know, along with just the personnel that we lost, the kids that we had season-ending injuries from that were a big cog in our plans, and how other Ducks stepped into those roles, and then within the season, guys going down, and the likes of Kevin Shepard and other tremendous stories. When the emotions of the devastation go away, and I take a step back, and equally as important to me is what these both guys said about myself and my staff. But I'll tell you, they probably needed more development as baseball players than they did as human beings. You know, they gave me some credit. As a coach, sometimes you look at teams and you go, well, they didn't really deserve it because they took shortcuts, or their behavior was off, or there's no weakness in this team. And when I take a step back, this team taught me in my 37th year of coaching as much as any team has ever taught me, the old guy that's been around and all that. It's as good as it gets. I mean, every flight we're on, the flight attendants say, they come up to me, they find me and say, that's the best group of young kids I've ever had on my airplane. And I didn't, you know, it was unsolicited, and they say please and thank you and treat people the right way, and they behave themselves. You know how many problems we had in hotels on the road? Zero. And almost every year, you can talk to any coach, and maybe it's not a public knowledge, but if they're honest with you, you're gonna have incidents. And we had 0 incidents.
Coach, what do the wins by Kent State and Stony Brook kind of say about college baseball from your experience and where it's been?
Well, it's kind of cool, you know.